Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back to the 35th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast for all things Hearts of Midlothian for news, chat, and reviews. Joining you as always is a very fit and healthy Alan Scrimger and a very unfit and absolutely fucked Ewan Ramsey. How you all doing? Hope you are actually all well. So yes, for today's podcast, obviously we're going to go through the somewhat events of the weekend. Not that there was much actually happening, but we will be going through the game that was held at Dens Park on Saturday, where Hearts took on Dundee, as I just mentioned, away at Dens Park, where we managed to just grind out a 1-0 win to the Hearts and taken back to Tynecastle all 3 points. So we're going to go through, of course, for the events that took place during the game as well. And of course, we will have Alan's news segment as usual. And obviously, as well, we're going to have a preview of the Ross County game. But before we do get into that, I'm sure you'll all be happy to hear that this is going to be our last podcast for this year. So you won't have to hear our fucking my infuriating voice anymore for the rest of this year. Now, of course, we are aware that the game against Ross County on the 26th and the Hibs game as well. Of course, we are very aware of that, but just from as a very selfish point of view, we just want to enjoy the festivities and just watch the Hearts games and just enjoy it. I think throughout this past pretty much since we started the podcast, it's just been a constant, one every single week. So we do feel as if we deserve a tiny wee break. So we do hope that you will understand that. But of course, when we get back into the new year of 2022, our next podcast episode will be a review of the Edinburgh Derby at Easter Road, and we are hoping to have a few faces on there, so we'll make sure that we make it a good one when we come back. So, and of course, as a disclaimer, I probably won't be talking as much throughout this podcast because, as you can see, my nose is blocked up to fuck, and I generally can't talk that much anyway. So again, that'll be music to all of your ears that I don't actually talk that much. So hope you enjoy that. So as always, before we get kicked off into the podcast, if you are a fan of the Since I Was Young podcast but not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please think about subscribing, smash that like button because it always helps us out a lot. And of course, if you want to get in contact with us through our socials as well, all at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we are at SIWI Pod. Alternatively, as well, if you want to get in contact with us for our email address as well, for any sponsors out there, please sponsor us because it's Christmas and skint, please. You can find us at sinceIwasyoung1874@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan to our Twitter pages, the links will be in the description as always. So, Alan, before we get kicked off into the news segment, how are you, sir? Are you all right? Are you slightly better than me? Are you fit and healthy? Have you got a man-sized box of fucking tissues that you're literally crawling to every fucking minute? Right.
I know, I hate to say it, but I'm actually feeling very well at the moment.
Good for you, sir. Good for you.
I'm happy for you. All is good at this end. All is good at this end.
Good, man. Glad to hear, buddy. Glad to hear. Well, on that note, as we said, we've obviously got your news segment. Some topics that we just got to briefly talk about is the Foundation of Hearts elections that recently just passed there. We'll talk a tiny bit about that. Also, as well, there was a tiny bit of news concerning Robbie's views for the transfer window in January. Also, just to be update on our right wing back Taylor Moore, and a bit of contract news as well to bring you guys. So, Alan, as I just said at the start, the Foundation of Hearts elections. Of course, we heard the results of that, but would you like to enlighten us on who it was?
Yeah. So the elections took place just last week, and the I don't know if you listened to them, but the series of interviews that This Is My Story did with each of the
Indeed, yep.
candidates was
Indeed.
very positive and very informative as well. Because to be honest, I wasn't 100% sure who I was going to vote for. When I received the email about voting, I was keen to do it, but I didn't
Yeah, of
really
course,
know
yeah.
too much about them. But they had a lot of coverage through those interviews, and also the evening news coverage of them was really good as well. Gave them a platform to kind of put their points across. The successful candidates were Louise Strutt, who was already on the board. She's been re-elected, which is good news. Also, Andrew Brown and Jerry Mallon were the two that have been chosen to join the board. I think it's positive to have, obviously, the opportunity to increase the size of the board and give some new voices and some new experience. And obviously, it's a different skill set that they have that maybe isn't already there. So it's a positive move, and hopefully, it can be the sort of next chapter in the Foundation of Hearts story, if you will.
So well done to everyone that was elected to the Foundation of Hearts board. Is Robbie now going to get himself a striker? I've been waiting on the news, Alan. Can you confirm?
Certainly hope so. It seems that's what they're looking for in January, is another forward, just to maybe help out the ones that we've already got. But what Robbie did say, though, which I think is accurate, to be fair, when he said that they're looking for a forward that'll score goals, which in January is not that easy to get.
It does not. No.
If there's a striker out there that's banging goals in, then his current club aren't going to want to sell him.
Of course.
So it'll be an interesting one. I feel like we might end up going down a sort of loan route again.
Yeah.
Potentially like another Ben Woodburn type of player in terms of from that sort of level. Maybe under 23s in the English league or whatever. I think that's maybe what we'd look at, to be honest. But we'll see. I mean, I think it's one of those, as I say, you're going to find it difficult to find a starting striker in January. There's a few whispers about Tony Watt at Motherwell, obviously formerly of Hearts, because he's hit form for Motherwell this season, but he's turning down a new contract, and his contract runs out at the end of the season. So whether you'd have Tony Watt back at Hearts or not, I don't know. I like him, but you can judge it off of his last time he was at Hearts and say, well, wasn't great. But then you look at the way the team is now, would he suit it better now? Possibly,
yeah.
And it's a realistic one, I think, to say that Tony Watt could come in, because he's been here before. But it is one of those that I think that'll be sort of a summer situation. But January, I think a loan is probably most likely, and obviously that'll also depend on what happens with Nandule and with Ben Woodburn as well. Obviously, possible doubts about them, and Jamie Walker as well. So there could be some movement in the forward areas come January.
And we'll just have to wait and see. But hopefully, as you said, Alan, we will get a striker in to bang more goals in, as well as our main man, Liam Boyce. One of our players that we've actually got in on loan just now, the big man himself, Taylor Moore. He says he's delighted at Hearts right now. Well, why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be?
Exactly. Coming up to the capital. He's enjoying his time in Edinburgh, as are all the loan players, to be fair. But he gave an interview where he said he was really happy at Hearts and enjoying his time, but frustrated he's not playing a little bit more, but also understanding why he's not playing as often as he'd like. Obviously, with the team doing well, there's less of an opportunity for him to play if there's a settled team there that's winning games. But he seems to have he's played a few games recently. Obviously, played against Dundee there yesterday and did very well in that game. So I kind of hope he makes the most of Michael Smith supposedly being injured or rested or whatever, because I like Taylor Moore, and I think he spoke about the possibility of a permanent move. But again, it's it's in the hands of Bristol City what they want to do with him. But yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't complain if Taylor Moore comes in. If I've not mentioned John Souttar yet in this episode, so I'll say it now.
Oh God.
If John Souttar is going to go away, which seems to be the likely situation,
yeah,
Taylor Moore is a player I wouldn't mind coming in as not a direct replacement, but certainly someone that could do the job. So yeah, no, it seems, as I say, that he's enjoying his time, and hopefully that can be a deal that can be done, because he is a very, he's a good little player for sure.
You and me both, Alan, and just to point out as well, that is the first word, frustrated, of the podcast, and I will be keeping count of that just for this podcast, seeing as it is the last one of this year. And just to wrap up the news segment as well, had a bit of a quiet contract extension for one of our players as well, who might not be Alan.
So that is the forgotten man, Jamie Brandon. Yeah. Apparently his contract has been extended. I think there was a clause to extend it to the end of the season, which is why it's not really been a public kind of situation. It hasn't been announced, but I think it's pretty much done in terms of with Jamie Brandon. Robbie was talking about him and said, he needs to play games, but he's not ready or fit enough to play at first team level. So the thinking is that they loan him out in January and give him the second half of the season, almost as like an addition to next season. If he goes to a decent level and plays well, then he comes back to Hearts and could well be a part of the squad next season. But obviously, it's also a chance for him to put himself in the shop window. If he doesn't see a future at Hearts, then it's good for him to go out and try and impress some people. I was actually speaking to someone the other day, and they said that Hamilton could be a destination for him due to obviously the new manager there being Rankin, who was obviously our previous under-23s manager. So he'll know Jamie Brandon pretty well, and there'll be a link there. So that would be interesting. I didn't even think about that, and it was brought to my attention. I thought, that's not a bad idea.
Absolutely not, Alan.
So we'll see on that one. Just quickly before we move on as well, I think it's good from the club to at least give them to the end of the season, because the way the world is right now, you don't want to be releasing a young player and in January when maybe getting another club might be difficult for him.
Of course.
So it shows that the club are kind of sticking by him and going, well, we'll keep you on the books till the end of the season at least.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, Alan. And thank you very much, as always, for the news segment. It is greatly appreciated. So we move on to the game that was played on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff at Dens Park, Dundee versus Hearts, which ended in a 1-0 win for the famous. And fucking low and behold, it's only the second time that me and Alan have got a fucking result and a score prediction right for the prediction league, and we're still fucking level. Like you know what I mean? It's nice to see that, of course, depending how the roster, the county game goes, it's nice to see us actually into like at least double figures before the end of this year. So that was nice to see. But as I'm sure for everyone that was in attendance at the game, and for everybody that watched online as well, it was a Scooby-Doo of a game, scrappy as fuck, definition and pun intended. So, of course, as I said at the start, Alan will be pretty much taking the lead on this, so I'll set you up for the first bit. Alan, now, when you text me about the starting lineup, because that's what we tend to actually do, you were baffled at thinking, what the fuck is this fucking lineup? And secondly, you were saying, why the fuck is Andy fucking Halliday in the team? And 3, why the fuck was Andy Halliday in the fucking team? So it did actually turn out to be our normal formation. But were you happy enough with the starting lineup, mate?
After I took some time to try and figure out what it was system-wise, it kind of made sense. I was more sort of worried about the fact that Boyce wasn't there. To be honest, that was more my bigger concern. Andy Halliday was a surprise.
No, like it was with to me, like as well. Well, I went like this.
It was a surprise to see him, but to be fair, as the game went on, he wasn't actually the worst player on the park. So
surprisingly,
I have to give him some credit for that. But yeah, it was an interesting lineup. Obviously, Michael Smith out, Taylor Moore in at right wing back, Craig Gordon in goal, back the usual defence of Kingsley, Suter, and Halkett, who, by the way, were very solid again.
Yep.
Obviously, the aforementioned Andy Halliday at left back, and then Haring and Devlin in midfield, with the front three of Gary Mackay-Steven, Ben Woodburn, and Barry Mackay. Now, my initial thoughts were, it's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure about that, but then, the festive fixture list is piling up. Obviously, we've got the game against Ross County on the horizon as well. So, it was another one of those games where he's rotated to an extent. It was only 2 changes really from the previous game, but going back to the 3 at the back with the wing backs was a positive, I think. But yeah, it was interesting. I was worried where the goals were going to come from, to be honest. But then I said it in our last episode about Dundee would give us chances to score and we had to take them. The way the game panned out, it is what it is. But when I looked at that front 3, I wasn't sure where the goals were going to come from out of them, because Gary Mackay-Stevens, the top goal scorer in that front 3.
How the fuck? But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, with Ben Woodburn and Barry Mackay, who just score a goal, Barry.
Please, Barry boy, please score a goal. You absolutely thoroughly deserve it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is one of those. I thought he was going to get one against Dundee, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was an interesting lineup. Obviously, Dundee's lineup was changed as well due to I think.
Why was that, Alan? Why was that, Alan?
So they've got lots of injuries to key players in their team. Equally, they have Charlie Adam, who decided to get behind the wheel of a car having been drunk. So he was obviously arrested and charged for that. So the club have disciplined him and dropped him. And then we have Jason Cummings, who went to the Hydro to watch the Open Goal live show. Without, sorry, I'm laughing at you.
Go on,
without the permission of the club, and then turned up the next day for training, a little bit worse for wear, shall we say?
So they've so they're sort of attacking sort of premise in their team. They've got a drunk driver, they've got a reckless man, they've got Paul McGowan, which is a fucking long list, which I will not go through, and they've got a man who gets his rocks off by speaking to kids, allegedly. So, allegedly. So they're just fucking living their best life, mate, aren't they?
Yeah, just criminals FC, aren't they? That's what they are. But yeah, so it was an interesting Dundee lineup. They went with a 4-4-2 type of system, which apparently they don't normally play. Again, I say that because I pay them absolutely no attention whatsoever.
Absolutely,
because I can't stand them for obvious reasons.
Of course.
But yeah, no, it was like I say, the game, the first half kind of started and it was a bit of a scrap, and as we said it would be, and I think as everybody knew it would be. There were a few chances. Ben Woodburn attempted a lob over the goalkeeper. Peter Haring had a shot that went high and wide. So yeah, it was a scrappy first half, as we knew it would be. Dundee making it more of a fight than we would have wanted it to be.
Of course, sir.
Conditions in the first half were actually not too bad, but
not that bad, yeah.
But then obviously as the game progressed, it was a bit harder, shall we say, to play the right way. But
absolutely, the
first kind of incident of any real sort of note was
let's get into this.
After about 20 minutes, or at least around that mark, where Max Anderson tackles Stephen Kingsley. Now, I have watched that tackle multiple times, and every single time I see it, I've spoken on this podcast before about bad tackles and said, I've watched it again and again, and I can understand why it wasn't a red, or I can understand why he didn't give a foul. I've watched that tackle at least 5 times, and it's a red card every single time I see it.
Could not agree more, Alan. Could not agree more.
Yeah. I mean, there's the certain defence where you can say, oh well, Willie Collum didn't see it, but he wasn't far away from it.
No.
You know, you can say it happened quickly. That's irrelevant. You know, it's a referee's
Yeah,
job is to catch these things.
absolutely. I mean, just to kind of throw my two cents in it. So, like, while I was watching it now, of course, it was through Dundee TV. And what I could not kind of take in at first was it was the co-commentator. Like, like he was saying, like, oh, like it didn't look like there was any malice like in that, like at all. And I'm like, are you high hen? Like, seriously, because like what I like you said, Alan, like I completely agree. It's like a red all day. Now, I know that you did put up a tweet, like and writing about it, and I know that throughout the responses there was a lot of yes, it was, no, it wasn't, blah 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 blah. But the thing that kind of did it for me because I did watch it like quite a few times myself as well. Now, but what got it for me, and what kind of made me think that there was some sort of intent in that as well, is that he doesn't necessarily go in to the challenge at first where he studs up. It's after he, like in one scene, gets the ball, but after the initial challenge is actually made, in that split second, his foot is like is actually went up to almost like sort of Kingsley. Now,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong as well. I'm pretty sure that Anderson, is that right? Yeah, you said.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was said as well throughout the game that he was sent off during the first game of this season as well for a relatively similar challenge as well. But like you said, like I mean, again, like we've talked about like if VAR was in the actual game, and right now would that like being sending off? Absolutely on your Nelly. Like I genuinely like again, like I can't fathom how that was not one caught and two not like sort of like at least a fucking yellow. And the fact that he that played on as well was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Absolutely criminal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny because obviously if VAR is not far away, I
Yeah.
feel like we're going to have a section of the podcast that's just devoted to decisions that VAR maybe got right or got wrong, or referees got right or got wrong. To be honest, I think that's the way this is going, because
I think so.
it feels like every week there's something with referees
Well, of
and
course, Alan.
missing
Yeah,
missing
absolutely. So
decisions. But yeah, it's one of those, and I hate hearing it when they say, oh, he's not that kind of player. I'm like, you
doesn't
don't have
fucking
to
matter.
be
No,
exactly, but that's irrelevant. You don't have to be that kind of player. Like,
no, of course not.
he went in and he got a touch on the ball. I'll give him
Aye.
some credit. However, it was the follow through of his leg that connected studs up with Stephen Kingsley's leg. And if you're going to miss that, I know it's Willie Collum, and we all talk about the standard of referees in Scottish football, and he's not exactly great, but he's one of the most experienced referees in Scottish football.
Unfortunately, aye.
Yeah, but that tells you everything.
Yeah.
It's, as I say, I don't have. Sometimes I have sympathies because I say, oh well, it happened really quickly and the
No,
referee
no, of
missed it,
course, yeah.
etc., etc. But that instance, there's no sympathy from me because I,
Not
I
at
don't
all. Not
understand.
at
I don't,
all.
and it's like you said, I don't even understand why he's not given a yellow at least.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I
So
hold.
Stephen Kingsley then had to go off not long after. He tried to run it off for a little bit, but had to then go off and was brought off in place of Alex Cochrane, who came on. Nice to see him back in the team, albeit off the bench.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of was the main sort of talking point from the
Yeah,
first
I know.
half, to be honest. It was, like I said, it was a scrap. Dundee had a couple of opportunities, but nothing really major. I have to say as well, whenever Dundee tried to get forward, our defence was fantastic. Despite the difficult conditions as well. Halkett in particular showed the same qualities that he's shown since the start of the season. John Suter was doing his usual, strolling out from the back with the ball and pinging it around. But I want to say one thing about one player in particular.
I think I know who it might be, but please carry on, sir.
Peter Haring. What a man.
He's done exceptional. Obviously, like again, like I've had my like sort of views on Haring in the past, but I will I will not lie and say that since he has came in, he has been nothing but exceptional.
He has, and he carried it on against Dundee through the whole game. You know, he was absolutely flying. He was picking the ball up, spraying passes left and right. It was the first half, as I say, was a scrap, and it was a lot of sideways and a lot of backwards. But Peter Haring was the one that every time he got the ball, he was looking up and trying to find a forward pass.
Yeah.
The movement from the front three wasn't fantastic. Gary Mackay-Steven doing his usual disappearing act in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could go on a Gary Mackay-Steven rant every week at this rate, but we won't.
Oh, I could, mate, I could. But yeah, look,
we won't.
No. But like you said, so when we got into the second half, no changes. Of course, like apart from the force change, as you said there, for Alex Cochrane replacing Stephen and Kingsley. Were you kind of competent in that sense that we could get like a goal like throughout the second half, considering how the first half was?
I kind of was. I was strangely confident because we have seen with Hearts in a lot of games this season that the second half tends to be when we get going a little bit more. You know, we've seen it a lot recently where the goals are coming in the second half, and it's almost like they need to be reminded at halftime that they are the better team, because for that first half, you wouldn't be able to tell who was third and who was second bottom of the table or third bottom of the table, whatever Dundee are.
I don't fucking care. I hope they go down, but
that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between the two sides. But second half started, and we did look a little bit brighter. We did kind of have a few more opportunities, and Peter Haring again was controlling things. I have to say, I think Devlin looks a little bit lost when he's next to Haring. I think Devlin and Benny had such that understanding that they'd obviously developed over so many games that, you know, and I'm not saying that Cammy Devlin had a bad game, because he didn't.
No. But
I think he's just he's not quite suited to playing with Haring because they've not really played together all that much.
Yeah.
And they won't play together in the next game either because he's suspended for that one. But it was an interesting performance from Cammy Devlin. Certainly not one of his best, but the second half, as I say, it started better than the first. We kept the ball a little bit better, but we were still a little bit scrappy. Dundee again had a few chances on the counter attack because that was how they wanted to play. They wanted to sit back and counter us. But again, as I said, with the first half, every time they came forward, I wasn't overly worried about them scoring a goal.
Yeah.
But I have to say, as the second half was progressing, I kind of thought this has got 0-0 all over it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Despite the fact that we were playing better than we did in the first half.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, conditions in the second half got worse and worse and worse.
God awful.
Yeah, it was just mad. I was watching it on a stream, and for probably the last half an hour, I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
I was literally much like yourself, Alan. Like I spent like the last 20 minutes just literally right up close at the screen, fucking saying that. The fuck is that?
You just couldn't see anything. Like
it
was
dreadful.
But then the thing was as well, there was 2 games in the lower levels of Scottish football that got abandoned due to the fog. And I was sitting thinking, Willie Collum's going to abandon this, isn't he? He's going to take it off. He's going to abandon it. Like I wouldn't have been to happen.
Surprised me. No,
yeah, and then obviously Robbie brought on McKenneth and Jamie Walker with about 20 minutes to go in the game. It was about half an hour, 20 minutes to go. Woodburn went off for McKenneth, and Jamie Walker came on for Gary Mackay-Steven. Jamie Walker was sort of put through the middle, up front through the middle. And he did well when he came on. He was running at people, taking people on, or at least what I could see and what I could hear from
like of course
from the Dundee commentary, which they didn't even realise that it was McKenneth. They thought it was Ben Woodburn for about half an hour.
Exactly.
I don't think they actually saw him getting substituted on. But to be fair, it's one of those, and I have massive admiration for those guys, and also obviously the Hearts TV guys as well. Laurie and Robert did a great job with the commentary.
Yeah.
Considering the view must have been horrific.
Dreadful.
But yeah, it was. You could see in the second half that we were trying to get something, and then Walker coming on did what you want him to do.
Back to his old tricks, eh?
Yes, yeah, and I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted for Jamie Walker. Just going into the goal, because obviously it seems like a good way to go. The ball was worked out to him. Barry Mackay sort of quick feet to keep the ball, and then it was laid back to Aaron McInnes, who hit a shot side-footed onto the post, and it rebounded, and Jamie Walker was there just to put it into the roof of the net from an angle.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I was absolutely delighted for Jamie Walker, genuinely, and you could see that all the players were. Yeah, you could see that all the players were as well. It was quite similar to McKenna's goal earlier in the season when he scored coming off the bench. It was, you could tell that Jamie Walker is a popular person in that dressing room. Like they all like if you go into social media, it's like Jamie Walker was posting after the game, like all the players were saying, "Oh, great man, what a man, brilliant goal, blah blah blah." Like it shows you that he's obviously well thought of, and obviously having come through the academy, he's the Hearts fans were singing the one of our own and all that, which is great. It is
absolutely
great.
I mean,
and he did what he was asked to do.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of bring me on to the question. I know that you've kind of had your view on it already. I just kind of wanted to get a bit of context on that. So, like, of course, he's not played for quite a long time. Of course, we had the discussion last week as well, where we thought that his services as such would maybe be thought of elsewhere, not because for the simple fact that we want to get rid of him, but like that he mainly deserves like sort of a game time. But I mean, does this sort of goal and this match, the winner at all, change anything for you in the sense of him still being part of the squad by next month, possibly?
So I said my piece on Twitter earlier, as I tend to do.
Of course, yeah.
And I appreciate Jamie Walker. I appreciate him coming off the bench. I appreciate him scoring a goal because it won us the game.
Of course.
I think there's definitely a player in there.
Yeah.
But the one argument that I'll make is that there's obviously a reason why he's not been getting in, beyond the fact that the players ahead of him have been doing well. Because, Ben Woodburn had a dip in form and Jamie Walker was nowhere near it, nowhere near the squad. Gary Mackay-Steven had a dip in form and Jamie Walker was nowhere near the squad either. So you think it's that's my view. Like there's obviously something behind that we don't see. Maybe it's a training ground thing. Maybe Robbie just thinks there's better players, or it is an interesting one. And I still think that Jamie Walker's services would be better served elsewhere.
I agree with that, yeah.
To be honest, because I think, as I say, there's a player in there and he deserves to play. He does deserve to play, but just
100%.
not for us. And I don't mean that in a harsh way.
No, man.
The way I said it earlier on was that we should be aiming higher than a Jamie Walker. We there's players in that Hearts team that are there right now just to fill gaps. I think that's the way I look at it, and I think
that's right. Yeah,
I think Jamie Walker is one of those. But I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, well, he could be an option. So if we are to let him go, if it's at the end of January, I'll take that, because if we can use him throughout January,
true,
bring him off the bench or whatever. If we let him go early in January, we'll have to have an alternative option.
Yeah.
So if Robbie goes out in the window and brings in a forward that can play on the wings, or like an attacking midfield type of player, which is where Jamie Walker tends to play these days, then we let Walker go. I can accept that.
Yeah.
But if as I say, if there's a player there that we can bring on and he can do something, like we've seen it with McKenna, we've seen it with Peter Haring. These guys are on the fringes of the team. When they get a chance, they have to take it.
Yeah.
So Jamie Walker was given a chance off the bench with 15 minutes to go when he took it. So, you can't ask for more than that. But does that mean he has a long-term future at Hearts? For me, no. And that's not being harsh to Jamie Walker.
No.
That's
not
just
at all.
Being realistic.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you on that, Alan. So, obviously, of course, the goal came after 75 minutes. Pretty much the only sort of talking point throughout the whole game. Like we talked about this before we came on here. I was stunned at the fact that both teams only had one shot each on goal throughout the entire game. Absolutely madness.
One shot on target. We had 14 in total.
Come on, you know what I'm trying to say, Alan. Fucking hell. But on that note, obviously, of course, with 15 minutes to go after we scored, did anything of relevance happen, Alan, at the end of the game?
If it did, I didn't see it.
Yep. You and me both.
The one that I want to highlight though was a fantastic tackle by John Souttar on everybody's favourite forward, Lee Griffiths. He absolutely sent him into orbit, and I love it.
Fucking delighted.
Yeah, it was one of those tackles that, again, we spoke about the referee.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like John Souttar's got away with one there, to be honest.
But it's great to watch, though. It's great to watch, Alan.
Yeah, the ball was long gone. Souttar just jumps in and thinks, "Nah, I'm taking you out because why not? He's doing a public service. He's doing a public service,
Fucking right, is boy."
But yeah, I think we were a little bit fortunate to avoid even a card. Well, I think he got booked, but could have been worse, to be fair.
A lot worse. No, of course, Alan. But as you said, of course, there was I wouldn't say half chance, but of course, the only sort of minor sort of chance that we had towards the end of the match as well was the through ball through to Cammy Devlin, whose first touch, I don't know where that came from, but it just rolled along to the Dundee goalkeeper, and that was pretty much it.
Jamie Walker also had a goal that should have been given.
Yeah, true. Because when I was actually watching it, I didn't know that the whistle had actually blown long before that. So I was like, oh yeah, fucking goal. Oh no. No.
I know it was one of those that I again struggled to see it, but having kind of followed along with social medias and what people were saying, it seemed like it should have been a goal. I'd have to watch it again because, to be honest, as I say, I felt like I was watching that game through a snowstorm.
Don't put yourself through that again, Alan. Do not watch that game again. Honestly, it's not worth it.
No, and it's funny. Like after the game, James McPate was talking about it and saying, the conditions played a massive part, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, but both teams had to play in that. It makes me laugh even when you hear like managers talking about the state of the pitch or the weather. It's like both teams are playing in that. Hearts didn't play in a tropical sunshine yesterday.
No,
it was both teams were affected by the fog. You can't blame the weather.
Tell that to Robbie. Fucking hell, son. Fucking the master of fucking she's his son.
That's true.
But it's all good. At the end of the day, it may have not been the best performance so far this season, but if it means playing like that and grinding out results to actually get all 3 points, especially away from home as well, hey, who am I to judge? So I will take that all day long. So as we said at the start, the game on Sunday away to Dens Park, Dundee versus Hearts ended in a 1-0 victory for the famous, and we take that into next week's game on Boxing Day against Ross County at home. It should be a shagging, Alan, eh? Proper shagging, eh?
Should be.
It should be, but it probably won't be.
Yeah, we'll find a way to make it tough for ourselves.
Of course.
Ross County, I was actually looking this up earlier on just before we came on. Do you know, they've scored 24 goals this season, which is, I think, the most in the bottom six. I think Hibs have got 21 or maybe 20. So, Ross County have got some threats there.
Aye.
But the reason they're second bottom of the league currently as we speak is because they've conceded 32. So yeah, that's the second worst in the league.
Yeah.
Only Dundee have conceded more.
What a shock.
So being at home, we should win. Cammy Devlin will be suspended. He's serving his ban in this game.
Yeah.
So he'll then be available for the Edinburgh Derby in January. It should be a win.
Just to sort of on that note, would you make a case for either Jamie Walker or Adam McIntyre to be that racing player?
I think so.
Like,
I
it's
think,
gotta
yeah,
be.
I think so. I think either that or, I mean, I could say Andy Halliday in midfield, but I absolutely hope that does not happen. I hope that does not
Fucking
happen.
a Twitter riff-raff will rough, my mate. Do not bring that here. No.
Yeah, I think probably we're likely to see Aaron McEnough, to be
Yeah,
honest. I think
agree about
Jamie Walker's scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, if Jamie Walker finds his way onto the team sheet, fair enough. But
Aye.
I still think Walker will likely be on the bench
Yeah.
for the game. I don't know what Liam Boyce's situation is.
Yeah, it's been pretty kept under wraps, that, eh?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that they gave for him missing the game yesterday was with an injury, but they didn't say if it was a new injury or just
Yeah.
maybe the same one that he was carrying before. Ginelli should be back. I think his ban was only one game. I could be wrong on that though. I think it was just a one-game ban.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, I think probably Haring and McKenniff will be the midfield too. That's what I would like to see.
We'll not complain about that.
Yeah, and especially because obviously Devlin will be out, and Ross County will probably do what a lot of teams have done when they've come to Tynecastle this season in terms of sitting and try and nick something. So it'll be up to us to kind of force the game, and I think McKenniff is probably further ahead in the manager's thinking than Jamie Walker is. And that's not to say Jamie Walker's not, but I think if you need an impact off the bench, a Jamie Walker is the sort of player to bring on.
Agreed on that, man. And just to kindly wrap things off before we hibernate for the rest of 2021, what is your prediction for the game on Boxing Day? Hearts versus Ross County.
I will go with Hearts 2, Ross County 0.
That's a pretty accurate scoreline. I'm going to go one better, and we're going to go for a 3-0 Hearts win against Ross County. And as we said at the start there, the score 13-13, fucking double figures. Here we go, son. So, of course, we will see if there is a leader at the end of this year, and to see who will lead the way coming to the halfway point of the season. So we will, of course, update that as well. And yeah, I think that is pretty much everything wrapped up for the last Since I Was Young podcast of 2021. Before we do wrap things up, I'm sure Alan will share the same sentiment as me. Of course, we started the podcast with not a Scooby on what we were doing at all. Of course, it was still during lockdown as well. And the fact that we've managed to actually sort of carry this on, and for the people that have subscribed, and for the people that do watch, and for the people that do interact as well on the socials as well, honestly, guys, you have no idea how amazing that is for us. It's a very small sort of percentage of subscribers that we have, but to us, it's absolutely massive. So to all of you, if you're subscribed or not, and you still that watch us, honestly, guys, thank you so much for this year. It did kind of pick up our spirits, throughout the first few sort of the weeks of the podcast, and now we've kind of got an idea on what we're actually doing now. So from here on in, we just want to just slowly and improve, try to bring sort of the better sort of the content for you guys as well. But yeah, at the end of it all, thank you so much. Honestly, it means the absolute world, guys. So honestly, thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that, and just throw in a hope everybody enjoys their festive season. I know the world's a little bit of a mess right now, and it seems to be being a little bit of a mess again. Let's be honest. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoys their festive plans and whatever they're doing, and spend it with the people that mean a lot to you, because that's certainly what I'll be doing.
Definitely.
Christmas and New Year, obviously. Normally a time to be with family and friends, and obviously this year it's maybe a slightly smaller number of family and friends, but it's still important. And yeah, as Ewan said, that this has been a massive mood lifter, morale booster, if you will. for me as well. People know my circumstances and my situation at the start of the year, and yeah. But now there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It might not be as bright for people as it was, but it's there. And before I get all sentimental and start tearing up, the good times are coming back, and we it is what it is. So just even if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, just hang in there, and we'll be out of this sooner rather than later, I feel like.
Absolutely, I could not agree more, and I feel as if that is a nice way to wrap up the Since I Was Young podcast, the last one for 2021. So from myself and Alan, thank you like so much again for just the watching throughout this past 6 months, and we hope you have a brilliant Christmas and a wonderful New Year, and we will see you in 2022. You all take care, guys. Have yourself a good one. Bye bye now.